When my grandmother was widowed in middle age, she was looking around for something to do, and she took half her savings and invested, or bet them, if you will, on this cookbook. She wrote it and promoted it, and it was very successful. She privately printed the book. She sold it mail order from her apartment, and she did demonstrations at department stores, and in a lot of ways did many of the things that modern cookbook authors do to promote their books, and I think she was one of the first to do it that way. My mother worked on the book from its inception, and she helped my grandmother with everything from the design of the book and created the first illustrations for the book and the cover art. She helped with editing and writing, as did my father. And in the 50s, Mother took over the book completely and turned it into what I think of as the first modern joy, which is to say that she added a tremendous amount of teaching text, and she added a tremendous amount of reference material and made it into the book that it is today. Well, I've been working on the cookbook since 1968 or 69, and that was at the inception of the work that started on the 1975 book. And I did everything from writing and recipe testing and doing the books and trying to learn the trade, went to cooking school, spent a lot of time with my mom and dad, who were both very active and were very actively involved in the book up until my dad's death in 1974, and then helped Mom finish the book off. And after her death, I was in charge. We spent a lot of time trying to get a book out during the 80s. Most of that work went by the wayside at the beginning of the 97 edition, and then we kind of got back on track for this current edition. The test kitchen was my mother's kitchen and Janie Brigham's kitchen, and friends and neighbors who were given stuff to test, who used their home kitchens. It's always been a real brag of the joy of cooking that if you have a source of heat, the cookbook, you have enough to make pretty much anything that's in the book. A sharp knife helps, and running water is a real plus. But the book is written so that anybody can cook from it. The reason that we have everything from how to skin a rabbit and how to make corn dogs to describing water for cooking is we have tried very hard to make this a kind of Swiss Army knife of cookbooks, if you will. The answer to almost every problem in the kitchen is contained in The Joy, as well as 4,500 recipes, which is about 3 times as many as almost anybody else has. That's why we have no pretty pictures. We don't have room for it. It's the one-stop shopping, if you will, for your kitchen. It's the one book you can find it all in. It's true that the book has a lot to do with entertaining. The reason that there is a nutrition chapter is that we bear firmly in mind that the most important thing you can do for your family and your guests is to provide them with healthy food. How you eat, how you present the food itself, all of these things are all part and parcel of the same part of cooking, something we do 3 times a day. The new book, of course, there's no reason to have a new book unless you put new stuff in it. So everything from the nutrition chapter, which has been completely rewritten, to the index, which, largely thanks to the marvels of modern electronics, is perhaps one of the most incredible indexes that's ever been put in any book, and certainly any general-purpose cookbook. We have a little thing on hearth cooking. One of the dumbest things in the universe is to be sitting in front of a roaring fire in your fireplace and looking out in the blizzard and then going out and lighting the grill. Why not cook on the hearth? A lot of people are doing a cook for a day, eat for a week kind of deal, and we've got a big section on that. We've got information on slow cookers, a lot of emphasis now on grains, so there's a nice grains cooking chart. We have recipes for enchiladas and sushi, flavored vodkas, one of our favorite things to test, baby back ribs, which never made it into the book before for some reason, cocktail meatballs, bagel chips, patty melts, smoked brisket. There's a lot of new stuff. And there's some old stuff that's back too. The brunch, lunch, and supper dish chapter, which is kind of our fast food chapter and leftovers recipes, has come back. We have a new wine and beer chapter and cocktails and party drinks. It's interesting to me, for instance, with cocktails and party drinks, 10 years ago, everybody said that hard liquor was a dead issue. Nobody was drinking it anymore. That everybody'd be nothing but drinking wine. Well, people are still drinking wine, and they're still drinking beer, and they're still drinking cocktails. One of the things that the new index does that is really tremendous is it separates out all the quick meals, the kind of under 30-minute dishes. So you can go to the index and find quick, and you could cross-reference that to Japanese or Thai or East European or Greek, Indian, Mexican, or Middle Eastern. So the book gives you a tremendous amount of choices about things to do and also the time you can expend to make it happen. We've tried to differentiate in the book the things that were like classic joy recipes. The cocaine recipes that are in the book are recipes that were very familiar to me as a child growing up and were my parents' favorites. And the Becker recipes are the ones that I cook a lot or have created. Because people are always asking, what's your favorite recipe? Well, they're now in the book under Becker. This is the Becker Bloody Bullshot. This was developed much earlier in my life when I had tremendous need of its restorative properties. It makes 8 servings, mixed together in a pitcher, 32 ounces tomato or tomato vegetable juice, chilled, 1 10 to 11 ounce canned beef consommé, chilled. Pour over ice in each highball glass, 1.5 ounces vodka, or if you're making them in the pitcher, 12 ounces total, 3/4 teaspoon fresh lime juice, or 2 tablespoons total, a dash or 2 of hot sauce. Fill with the tomato consommé mixture, add and stir in black pepper to taste. It's rich. I'm something of a flavor junkie, and I'm always looking to add both background flavor, which the consommé does a beautiful job of, added to the tomato juice, and it adds a creaminess, really, to it, and it's almost a meal in a glass. The Becker burgers actually came by way of me trying to recreate a dish in a very wonderful old Cincinnati restaurant that was only open at lunch. I kept adding to it, and this is one of the things that both of my sons are always requesting that I cook. The traditional way of serving these in our household is as open-faced sandwiches on whole wheat toast, with the pan juices poured over the burgers. Divide into 4 equal portions and form each into a burger about 3/4 of an inch thick, 1.5 pounds lean ground chuck. Heat in a heavy skillet over medium-high heat, 2 tablespoons olive oil or peanut oil. Add the burgers and cook for 2 minutes. Turn and cook on the other side for 4 minutes for medium rare. Sprinkle the burgers generously with black pepper and then 2 tablespoons soy sauce, 2 tablespoons pork, several drops of hot pepper sauce. Remove the skillet from the heat, cover, and let stand 5 minutes before serving. Trying to make ground beef enough different so that people will look forward to it if you have a family to run. This is a very good way to get a little extra flavor for very little extra work and very little extra expense.